Lost time. Daniel, an 8-year-old cheerful boy, was out in the forest with his family for a picnic. The weather was perfect, the birds were singing, the wind rustled through the trees, and the leaves whispered gently. His mom was making sandwiches, his dad was gathering firewood, and his older sister Lily was busy with her phone, repeatedly rejecting Daniel's offers to play. Feeling bored, Daniel sat under a large oak tree. With a small stick, he began digging the earth, trying to pass the time. After a few minutes, his finger brushed against something hard. Curious, he dug a little deeper and touched something cold and smooth. It was an old black pocket watch. The watch had strange symbols engraved on its surface, unfamiliar markings. He opened the lid, expecting to find a regular clock face. But instead of the usual watch face, there was a strange, lifelike eye symbol. A chill ran down Daniel's spine. A strange unease settled over him. Just then, the wind stopped. The bird sound ceased. For a moment, the world fell silent. Then, he heard his mother scream. Daniel quickly looked up. The picnic blanket, the food, his family, all were gone. In their place, a thick, rolling mist filled the air. Mom, Dad, Daniel shouted. But no one responded. Panicking, he looked around. The forest around him had changed. The trees appeared pale. The sky had turned a gloomy gray. Then, from the swirling mist, a figure emerged. It was tall and thin, its face was featureless, but Daniel could feel its eyes on him. Time is now mine. Double quotes. Daniel froze. His body wanted to move, but his legs felt as if they were rooted to the spot. The mist swirled around him, slowly pulling him in. That thing was getting closer. Daniel's eyes instinctively went to the pocket watch in his hand. The eye symbol inside it suddenly glowed red. The mist began to spiral faster, and Daniel felt as though he was being swallowed whole. Then, a crackling sound echoed. The trees bent, the world spun, everything went black. Daniel opened his eyes to bright white lights above him. He could see the ceiling. But this was not any place he recognized. He struggled to breathe. Slowly, he turned his head and saw doctors and nurses standing around him. They were staring at him in shock. One nurse quickly left the room, and moments later, an elderly woman walked in. Her face was wrinkled, her hair was pure white, but her eyes, they were familiar. The woman, her eyes filled with tears, whispered, Daniel. My son. Daniel's breath caught in his throat. Was this his mother? But how? She had been young. Just moments ago, they were having a picnic together. Mom, how is this happening? He asked, his voice trembling. The woman came closer, holding his hands. But her hands were old, wrinkled hands. The doctor took a deep breath and slowly spoke. Daniel. You've been in a coma for 24 years. Daniel's world shattered. He still thought he was a child. But he was no longer 8 years old. Slowly, he took a breath and his eyes drifted to the mirror. His face was covered in stubble, his eyes sunken. A grown man was staring back at him. But the most terrifying thing, in his left palm, the old black pocket watch was still there. And its lid was slowly beginning to open. Just then, the clocks in the room all stopped at once. A nurse's pocket watch fell to the floor and shattered. And the wall clock above Daniel's bed began to move backward, its hands spinning counterclockwise.